everyone.
What's up guys, Unofficial MCU here. I hope you're all doing well, and in this video we have an exciting Marvel update for Spider-Man. We have multiple news updates here into the regards of multiple new Spider-Man movies coming from both Marvel and the MCU with Tom Holland, but then also with the Sony universe with Morbius and the Venom and all of those characters as well. That is exactly what we are going to be discussing in today's video. Really just an overall overview here of all of this major news here and kind of like confirmations of these upcoming Spider-Man films and women films actually. I would like to also mention that I will have more further in-depth videos and more details and everything like that on separate future videos here on the channel, so all the more reason to go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and that notification bell to be notified for when we have new videos coming out here on the channel. We are discussing and talking about everything related to Marvel leaks, rumors, news, breakdowns, theories, everything into the regards of Marvel we are going to be discussing and talking about. Let's go ahead and hop right on into it. In this video we will be taking a read from the direct article. I'll have their article linked in the description down below for you guys to check out there as well. Let's go ahead and first discuss two other Spider-Man films aside from the MCU Spider-Man 4 with Tom Holland. We have a Miles Morales live action movie and project that is reportedly in the development. This year's confirmation coming directly from Sony Pictures themselves. In a recent interview, producer Amy Pascal had teased the development for two new live action Spider-Man movies and Spider-Man Woman, actually, now that I mentioned that, following the studio's efforts on Spider-Man No Way Home. That there, of course, as I just had mentioned, we have Spider-Woman, and then we also have Miles Morales in a live action movie. This year has recently been confirmed by Amy Pascal, who is an executive producer over on Sony Pictures. From what I have heard is that she's worked on just about every Spider-Man film ever since Tobey Maguire, so she's really been in the game for quite some time. Any other further details though, however, about these two other movies is something that we just don't know exactly anything about. They could take place within the MCU or they could take place outside of the MCU. I think though, however, if they took place inside of the MCU, is that there would be a lot more secretive type of stuff going on here around this. It would have been officially announced as a more official confirmation type of thing with the Comic Book San Diego Hall H event that takes place over the summer, or it could also take place later in the year in fall at D23. However, then when it comes to Sony Pictures, they don't necessarily have like an actual like announcement time frame of where they're like announcing things, kind of like Marvel does or Disney does for D23 or for Comic Book in San Diego over the summer. They kind of just work on their projects, roll out their projects, and announce them kind of just on their own time, on like their own kind of just thing there. They don't really have a major date or event or anything like that. So given that for one thing, and then also for the fact that this is from Sony Pictures producer Amy Pascal, these probably will be taking place within the Spider-Verse here, with the Sony-verse here essentially, rather, with Morbius, Venom, and Kraven the Hunter. However, I will also have to say though, into the regards of integrating into the MCU here, I think if for anything, if they want to have like a Peter Parker, they're definitely going to end up probably using Tom Holland. They're dealing with the multiversal saga right now. That's something that we know about, is that you're able to kind of jump around in dimensions, so this is like the perfect time for them to do that. However, the question I think from there remains if they're going to take too long with trying to set these things up here and trying to set up like a whole separate cinematic universe essentially adjacent from what the MCU is pretty much, though just with more Spider-Verse like characters. With that is something that's very difficult to master. You can't just pop up a kind of like type of thing up in the like next 5 years or anything like that, not necessarily, especially with the way that the Sonyverse has kind of been moving rather slow with the Venom movies and then also the Morbius movies. These movies haven't really, I guess, performed the best or as well, or haven't been perceived as well from the fans. However, with Kraven the Hunter being rated R, and that is something that will be taking place within the Sonyverse for all of its Spider-Man characters alongside with Venom and Morbius, as I had mentioned, that has mad huge potential. And then from there to kind of build off of that and bring in some of those more darker tones and themes with superheroes, Sony definitely has like an upper arm, I think, when it comes to being a competitor with Marvel. But at the same time, they are going to be working with Marvel in the MCU if they want to bring in Tom Holland's Peter Parker. He's like a $1 billion Spider-Man character. Everybody knows his face, everybody knows him. If they could get him in one of their movies to be a part of like their Spider-Verse, Sonyverse Sonyverse, especially as I had mentioned earlier on, they're a part of the whole multiversal saga going on with the MCU. They have that potential, they can do it, and they can make it perform really, really well for the fans, and have a lot of awesome and interesting, amazing, crazy things going on, having the introduction of Miles Morales and everything like that there as well. So aside from Miles Morales and a Spider-Woman movie here, let's go ahead and discuss some details on Spider-Man 4. Now, as I had mentioned earlier on at the beginning of this video, we will be discussing a lot of this stuff in further details and more depth and everything like that in future separate videos here on the channel, so hit that subscribe button if you haven't already to be notified for when those videos are coming out. So, Spider-Man 4 with Tom Holland. There's the ongoing Writers' Strike Guild of America kind of going on right now. That's put a lot of things kind of on hold here, especially a lot of those projects that are like nowhere close to filming or in production or anything like that. A lot of the things that are like in the pre-production stages, so writing and everything like that, just like Spider-Man 4, that is something that is frozen pretty much. They aren't working on that in active development right now. Sony Pictures, alongside with that kind of tease and confirmation of a Miles Morales live action movie and that Spider-Woman movie as well, which the question which I haven't touched on a little bit here on this video actually is if that going to be connected to the Madam Web movie that's currently filming and in production as well. I think that it will be a part of the Sonyverse, and that will set things up further for the Spider-Verse, or Sonyverse rather, to have a more centered movie on Spider-Woman versus Madam Web. So aside from introducing all the villains like Venom or Kraven the Hunter or Morbius, I think that the Madam Web movie is going to do and work with a lot more of introducing the web slingers and the Peter Parkers and all the spider people essentially of what the Sonyverse is building on here. And so as we also know that in February earlier this year, Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige had confirmed that Spider-Man 4's story is already finished, pointing out that the movie's writers are just putting pen to paper, but they have an overall idea of what they are doing and want to do with the overall movie, though. They just have to write up the scripts and the storyboards and everything into the regards of pre-production, really. The exact story of Spider-Man 4 with the MCU and Tom Holland is still being kept under heavy wraps, but a past rumor had claimed that it will be a grounded narrative and not be as crazy as Spider-Man No Way Home. Very similar to what we saw with Avengers Endgame and the rest of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, is that a lot of those projects, both Disney Plus shows and movies, take a step back, take a breather from like a huge climatic event like Avengers Endgame. They have to reground things though, essentially. In fact, this also does line up with Feige's statement that the MCU Spider-Man will shift into the street level arena and it kind of like overall area with all those different characters like Punisher or Daredevil into the Phase 5 and beyond from there as well. The movie is happening. It is currently paused because of the whole Writers Guild of America strike going on. They don't want to go against any of that. They are being very supportive of it, which is amazing. Let me know all of your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Thanks so much for watching today's video, guys. Have a great one. This has been Unofficial MCU. Peace out.